we're making Captain America hair clips, inspired by Captain America, the First Avenger, and the Avengers.
I liked the movie so much because it was so self-aware of Captain America's history. It was so self-aware that Captain America was originally propaganda. And they played with that, and they made fun of that. But on top of that, they also brought up, but he's still a valid character, and there's still interesting things that we don't know about him, and isn't that cool that we still have a valid, interesting character? This week, we're making Captain America hair clips, which you can clip into your hair and keep them with you at all times. Here's what we need.
Black and white felt, scissors in a large and small size, masking tape, tacky glue or fabric glue, a strong adhesive, I like E6000, a black Sharpie, 2 large hair clips, a pattern which will be available on the blog. So, to create our hair pieces, we need 2 sets of these shapes. The solid white and black parts are pretty easy. Just fold your felt and then place the pattern on top of it and either trace around it or pin it down, whichever one works better for you, and then cut the pieces out. It should be pretty simple. It's a pretty big shape, but do be careful. Try and get those shapes right. Now we get into the tricky bit, which is cutting out those inner bits so that we can have our skeleton pattern. This is when you want your small scissors. You can also use a box cutter or an X-Acto knife. The only issue is that you can't use that on your felt, which is why I recommend just getting one cutting item available for this. So basically take your small scissors, poke a hole in the center of one of the shapes, cut out to the side, and then carefully cut around a whole inner shape, trying to get as much of the paper out as you can. If you're working with my pattern, you're going to want to cut on the outside of every line because I traced my original pattern, and whenever you trace something, it inevitably makes it smaller, so make sure you cut on the outside. The secret hero in this craft project is actually masking tape. What you're going to want to do is lay your pattern onto your black felt one layer at a time, and then carefully place masking tape over the entire pattern. It sounds really weird, so that's why I recommend printing this pattern on something a little bit sturdier than just plain old paper, otherwise you're going to burn through a bunch of them. But as you can see, it's still fairly transparent, but it's kind of magic within the fact that you don't have to pin it so it won't warp, and it will make sure that it holds the entire pattern and fabric still while you're cutting it out. This is especially useful on the skeleton bits where if you are working with pins or if you're working with something else, it just slides around. It's terrible. So get your masking tape, do this really weird process, and then bust out those tiny scissors and do the exact same thing you did for the pattern, but do it on your actual fabric pieces. The final bit of cutting comes from taking your white pieces and just giving it a slight trim down around all the edges to make it a little smaller. Time to assemble our First Avenger. Take your tacky glue and in a dabbing motion, carefully coat it all over the felt skeleton piece. This is going to be slightly more difficult than you'd think it would be, but just keep dabbing and it'll eventually work. Then carefully take your skeleton, flip it over the white, and then slowly kind of adjust it around until it is in the shape you like and is spread over it the way you like. Alright, now we have a wing. Once you let it dry, it'll stiffen up and that'll make it a lot easier to work with. Then take out your black piece and do the same thing you did to the skeleton, but do it all over the black. Once you got it thoroughly coated, go ahead and take your black piece, flip it on over to the white, and carefully adjust it again because it's felt and felt needs finicky adjustment times, such as this right here. Make sure you make an opposite one to go on the other side of your head. Now take out your black Sharpie and run it along the edge of your Avenger wing. This will help cover up all of the white bits and make it a lot cleaner looking without having to do a whole ton of fidgeting. Alright, last bit. Take your large hair clip and open it up and position it on your wing where you think it'll fit. For me, it fits right on the diagonal. Then take your E6000, put a thin layer over the entire hair clip, and with the hair clip closed, lay it down how you want it to fit. Make sure you have the end that feeds your hair in facing towards the back or the little whip up section on the wing. And then, once it's stuck down, repeat that onto the other wing. Let them dry for at least 24 hours and then go rock your Captain America pride.